Are you lost when trying to figure out a way to start living more sustainably? Or maybe you'd like to just change a few wasteful habits. Well, I'm going to give you 5 steps that's going to get you started living a more green, ecologically friendly lifestyle. Hey, it's Dave here with some more green tips to help you in your green journey to help you live a more ecologically and sustainable lifestyle. Thanks for being here. Taking the decision to start living a more green or sustainable lifestyle can be really confusing and daunting when you first get into it. The information overload is fantastic from the media, from documentaries and things that you watch, a lot of the information on YouTube. It's just overwhelming and it can be really quite depressing. So knowing where to start and where you can make the most impact is really critical. So tip number 1, start easy. Don't overwhelm yourself. There's 3 main areas that you can choose from. And those 3 choices are diet, plastic, and waste. Diet is one of the more challenging areas, and I don't recommend, if you're just starting on this journey, to get involved with changing your diet too much. It stresses your body and it stresses your mind. For example, if you consume a large amount of animal products and then you're going to decide that you're going to go vegan, there's a lot involved with that. And going cold turkey from one end to the other, you're really going to stress your mind and you're going to stress your body. That leads to high levels of dropout rate when it comes to doing these things. There's a high percentage that you're going to fail at that. The second area is plastic. Plastic is one of the easiest areas to get started in, but there's 2 areas to plastic. One is consumption and the other one is waste. For consumption, it's about consumer purchasing and purchasing products that have less plastic wrapping and have less plastic involved with the process of purchasing. Plastics takes anywhere from 500 to thousands of years to biodegrade in the environment. And unfortunately, when they biodegrade, they just break down into smaller and smaller particles. And the third area is waste. Waste covers quite a big area, from recycling to turning your appliances off at night to a number of things around the house that you can do to reduce your waste. But part of that is obviously linked to consumption. So household items might be things like changing your light bulbs and purchasing appliances that are much more energy efficient. If your appliances are getting old, then they're not going to be as energy efficient, and that will also save you money in the end. There's little things that you can do in terms of your waste consumption. If you're not part of a local recycling program, then I would suggest that you find one that works in your area or your neighborhood and begin to engage with that. And oftentimes, if you adopt that plastic reduction, that can often be a part of that anyway. Whichever choice you decide, it's going to start you on the pathway to become a conscientious consumer. And that's really what's at the core of this, is beginning to think about the choices and the decisions and the habits that you're making when you're purchasing and when you are getting rid of your waste. And these 3 areas can overlap, but it's good to focus on just one area. Tip number 2, understanding the impact that your choices have on the environment. If you're going to adopt diet, plastic, or waste, it's really useful to understand some of the numbers and some of the resources. It breaks down the impact that small choices and decisions can have in a big way on the environment if we all just adopted those small choices. Tip number 3, you're not giving anything up. That's a really important thing to understand when you're on this journey. A lot of people come to this and they have almost ideas of being heroic, that somehow we need to give something up, and that's kind of some sort of a payback. But that often leads to a mentality where you begin to become discouraged because you focus more on what you're giving up. And if you're giving up too much at one time, it's also going to lead to kind of negative thought processes. And if you're talking to other people about this lifestyle and what you've given up, it kind of starts that whole negative bias, that whole negative loop going. And you really want to avoid that. You want it to be smart, simple, and you want to feel good about what you're doing. And that's kind of, it should be part of your checklist until you've really gone down this route for a while and you're used to it. Before you start stepping into the next level, which is about making maybe more financial commitments or disrupting your life and changing more deeply embedded, deeply rooted habits. Or it also could be deciding to adopt a lifestyle that demands that you change your shopping preferences, or things like that, things that can be more demanding. You're going to have to look farther, maybe a little bit further afield, to find the same products and the same choices that give you the same results as the products that you do now that may be more toxic. You really have to be able to step back and don't judge yourself. Don't think that you have to give anything up. It's a process, and stick with that process, and slowly you build it over time. Tip number 4, learn from failure. A lot of people take failure hard when they first start out on this journey, and I wish I'd had somebody explain that to me when I first started out, because that was the thing that I suffered from the most. I started with diet on this journey, and so if I would slip off that diet or I would forget something, then I would really feel bad about it. And I would feel like it was a setback. And then I had this mentality where, okay, I'm gonna start over again and I'm gonna get going again. And you just kind of pick up where you left off. It's okay, we all do. But fail forward, fail successfully, continue on the journey, and you'll get it right. This isn't easy, especially if you're beginning to just adopt it now, because you're talking about changing habits, changing your lifestyle, changing your choices, which are all subconscious, they're all embedded. This is the way you've always done something. My mom and my dad have always done it that way. Our family have always done it that way. So you have to kind of step back from that a little bit, allow yourself to make mistakes, and just pick up where you left off, learn from that mistake, and move on. And you'll find that your success will pick up a lot more quickly, and you'll enjoy it along the way. Tip number 5, you can't change everything all at once. Just start with changing some habits. Habits that you can write down, maybe keep a journal and discuss your thoughts and feelings. But you can't change everything at once. You can't change your diet, you can't change your waste, you can't change your plastic consumption all at once. It's too much. So pick something, and remember, you should be feeling good about this throughout the process, but also make it challenging so that as you complete these challenges and you get better at what you do and it becomes more habitual, you can feel good about it. And more importantly, you have something to look back at. You can see how far you've come. You can measure the impact that you're having, and that's fantastic. And that's one of the reasons why I do these videos and I've started this channel. You should feel good about what you're doing. You should be able to measure it and be able to look back and feel really good about it. The last thing that I was going to say to add to that list of diet and plastic and waste would be transportation. For some of you, that might be a more workable solution. So it's something I want you to think about. You might be able to start riding a bike to work, and to your job, or to school, or to college, or university, whatever your circumstances might be. You might have access to public transportation. If you can afford it and financially these things work for you, if you can get out of your car, get out of your vehicle, and adopt a greener approach to commuting, for example, which is mostly where we really build up our carbon footprint, then I would suggest that maybe looking at transportation as a really easy fix to kind of start getting you into this lifestyle. So I want to thank you for being here today. Thanks for watching. I'm really trying to build this community up. It's really important to me that we all gather together, we have a good starting point, we have a sustainable strategy, and we can make a difference. Let me know in the comments below how I can serve you guys, how I can create topics for future videos, and I'll get on and I'll respond to your comments. Thanks. See you next time.